Journey Smollett said, like, I don't take feedback from people who don't do what I do at the level I do it. And that really turned something on in my head because, like, it's so easy to feel like all online criticism is, one, offered in good faith, which of course it isn't, but it's hard to, like, remember that all the time. But also people that are, like, prescribing different tacks, if they haven't done what you've done at anywhere near the level you've done it, like, they are speaking from their place of understanding, which even under the best of circumstances cannot replicate, like, the system under which you are performing.
Welcome back to It Takes a Universe. I'm Ashley, and today we have
Aabria Iyengar.
Hi! And we're gonna put a little clip here. I am your game master, Aabria Iyengar, and with me are my magical misfits. Say hi, magical misfits!
Hi, magical misfits!
Okay, so you guys know how we start with the simple question of where you're from and what was your first creative outlet?
Yes. So I'm from Orange County, Irvine, California, so 1 hour south of here. Long way. We've come so far. Just up the 405. And my first creative outlet, I was a little church kid, and I used to do, like, all the little, like, church plays at, like, Christmas and Easter. And I thought I was gonna be a little musical theater baby, and then I started growing. And then I became over 6 feet tall, and my dad went, congratulations, you're gonna be in every sport ever. So I had a brief, like, little detour into jockdom, did that through college, and then came back to stand-up because I didn't want to go to law school, and then I didn't like stand-up, and then improv at UCB, and then like, something about improv, it's just like, it's a pipeline directly to Dungeons and Dragons, and I've kind of landed here, and now they will have to pry me out of my DM chair. I will die in it.
That's crazy that you said the 6 foot thing, because that was one of my questions. I was gonna ask, was that a gradual growth, or was it like one grade you were this height and one grade you were that height?
Yeah, I was normal in 2nd grade, and then in 3rd grade, I think I was like 6'12".
Right.
So
now you're 7'12".
Yeah, exactly. Well, now I'm starting to shrink again because I sit for a living, and now I'm back down to a tidy 6 foot.
Okay, so you said your dad put you in sports because you did it in college too. I found deep dive on the Instagram. Out of all the sports, shot put, what?
Discus, actually.
Discus. Yeah. Because I saw a little sphere. Was I wrong?
No. So
tell me everything.
In college, like, so at UCLA, we'll run it back a little farther.
Yes.
I did volleyball at the University of Iowa my freshman year, blew out my knee, transferred to UCLA, walked onto the track and field team, and then did shot put, discus, and hammer. But discus was my favorite. Yeah. Okay. So little ball, little disc, ball on a string, swung yonder. You know, normal things to do.
So this was because of the knee injury? You had to find something like low impact, or you were drawn to that part of track?
I always liked those events. So, like, in high school, I did volleyball, basketball, and track, and I did basketball growing up, and was recruited for basketball, but my dad was my coach. So I very quickly realized I didn't actually like basketball. I liked my dad's love. Aww. So then I stopped doing basketball. So yeah, once I lost any amount of my vertical leap, I was like, what are the other ones left? We can huck stuff. Okay. That's great.
Okay.
And I went and did that for a little bit.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I was like, I've done sports my whole life too, and I was just like, I don't even think I know anyone personally who's done those sports, which is crazy.
Well, it's fun. Like, did you ever have, like, what did you do in the off season in high school?
I was just running.
Because run. See, that's the thing. I remember beefing it really hard, doing all the, like, 300 hurdles, and was like, oh, you can bleed. What's the ones where you hop a little bit or huck something in a little circle? I'm gonna go to the circle time. Okay. And then decide.
You're like, one injury is enough for me.
Yeah.
Smart.
Like, let's not do that.
Smart. Okay. Yeah. You said a lot of things that I didn't know about. Okay. So law school, what? Okay. So we're in school, musical theater, we're growing, now it's sports.
Yes.
And so the plan was sports and law school?
So the plan was, I was a poli-sci major, and I wanted to work in the State Department. And then I'm old. Okay. So that's the fun thing is I graduated right in that big, like, 2008 recession. Okay. And everyone was like, don't be in the workforce now. Go back and get another degree and try to like wait out everything bad happening. And I was like, okay, what if I go to law school? Wait, I really don't want to. What if I do what every other law student that doesn't want to be a law student, just go do stand-up instead? And I did that, and it was fine. I don't think I was very good at it because I'm a little team sport girly, and I was like, I'm lonely, and I want to go hang out with other people and do jokes. Yeah. So a couple years of stand-up quickly transitioned into like, wait, long form improv. Yeah. You get to have buddies. Let's go do buddy sports. So.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. A lot of improvisers and sketch people I know are like, I don't want to do stand up.
Yeah.
And I get it. But
I just don't like cocaine enough.
Sketch people do it too. So what, I'm always like interested in what, I love this and this and this, and I love that. Just the natural, that's just life. When people are like, oh, maybe they watch you and think you've always had this figured out. Like, oh, I'm gonna do D&D. Like, you know, so I like to emphasize people can change lanes and do things. Yeah. But what about stand-up when you were like, oh, I don't want to do law? That you were like, let me try that. I'm always interested in what makes you go, maybe I'll try that.
I think at the end of the day, like, I just love attention.
Okay. But we love an honest queen.
Look,
we love an honest
anyone that gets very far into like sport, you're like, I'm here because I like large crowds of people yelling for me.
Okay.
So, and then I realized that like a courtroom isn't, like a jury isn't enough people. Mm-hmm.
And they're pretty quiet.
Yeah, they're pretty quiet. Legally, they have to be fairly quiet, and there's only 12 of them.
Right.
Yeah. Like.
So, okay, now you found improv. Okay, yes. So you also do voiceover acting. You also do writing. Yeah. Okay, so bring me through the journey. So now we're like, no stand-up. Now we're at improv. When did we start writing? When did we start doing voiceover acting? Like,
The fun part of anything I would call my career is, what can I get away with because I do D&D? What's the coolest next thing I can do because I tell silly little dice stories? Like voiceover came because I sit there and do like silly little voices all day long. Mm-hmm. And then eventually got offered some like fun lines. You can go to Starfield. There's it's a very fun game, and I play a lot of people shit talking in the different towns that you walk through. I'm like, oh, I have a type. Okay. I sound like I'm always talking a little bit of mess. So you can like go to these crowds and then just hear like one person in the corner being like, I heard these aliens are just everywhere. I'm like, oh, it's me. They knew my brand. Talks a little shit. Because of that, I've been able to do voiceover and like writing projects for games and a little bit for like film and TV. And most recently, was able to do like a couple runs on an off-Broadway show. Yeah. I keep trying to get away with crazier and crazier shit. Just I dice so hard I get to be off Broadway.
That's
like
crazy.
The world in which like Andrew Scott, who's like one of my favorite actors, and I are like on. Like doing the same thing at the same time. I'm like, it's not the same. He's doing Vanya, and I'm like, again, playing D&D. Like, I'm in a little like purple jumpsuit, yelling about rolling initiative. So it's not the same, but it does feel cool that like strange doors get opened, or just like sneak
just
through.
Being you.
Yeah.
Authentically you.
Wiggle through those cat doors of like, I'm in here. It's fine. Don't worry.
That's crazy.
Don't scream. It's fine.
Okay, so let's run it back.
Yeah.
All the D&D stuff. Okay, so don't hate me, guys. I didn't know D&D, I was telling, existed until like 2 years ago.
Yo, respect.
Hey.
That's fine.
I have immigrant parents, didn't know it was a thing. I feel like it's an American thing. I don't know,
Very
maybe
much.
I'm wrong, maybe it is a global level, but to me, I did not know about it.
100%. It's very niche, very American, getting more global now, but I think that's been the work of the last, yeah.
Because of you guys.
You're welcome. You're welcome, Portugal.
What is the guy from Moana, The Rock, like, you're welcome.
Yes, exactly.
So how, did you have the same experience I had? How did you find out about D&D? And then upon finding out about it, then get started on, like, shows?
Yeah.
Like, what is that?
So the first time I heard about D&D, like again, I'm from Southern California, so very like suburban. I'm in the target demographic, except for the part where I did all sports. So I wasn't really like looking over and like, I didn't grow up like reading high fantasy books. It's sort of an ongoing bit that I haven't seen the third Lord of the Rings movie. And two of my most darling friends in the world, Brennan and Erica, cannot have a conversation without making like 3 Lord of the Rings references, and I get one of them, maybe. I'm like, yeah, I don't know what you're saying. The cinnamon roll is one of the books. Great, delightful. I'm so happy for you. I turned into my mom calling everything a Nintendo. But in high school, my high school winter formal date was like, here, like, big old dweeb, but also, sorry, Sean.
And then names.
Yeah. We'll just drop the full name.
No,
He's a
anonymous.
chiropractor. Go find him. He was like, oh, I play Dungeons and Dragons and I love anime. I think you would enjoy both of these things. And I remember being a junior in high school going like, oh, absolutely not. No, thank you. 3 years later, I'm just like, oh, he was so right. I love anime. And D&D was coming down the pipeline. But I didn't even try it until my now husband, his like board game group. He's also a very big geek. His board game group was like, oh, the new like edition of D&D dropped, and this was like a decade ago. So we're gonna try it, and you can bring your girlfriend. So I was truly the like girlfriend looped in and was like allowed to try it.
Yeah.
And I think we got 2 sessions in, and I was like, oh, I like this more than any of you have liked anything before, because it is that perfect mixture of like the improv, like we're improvising a narrative together. I need to just make a strong choice, and then to kind of like play the if then and follow it through. So it feels like it scratches a lot of like the like improv itch that I love. And then I'm not so much like fantasy books, but I am like a heavy reader, and I love like film and TV. So then it becomes a like, oh, I can bring in more like sci-fi conceits and like bring in the like all of the references that I like and bring those into like those kinds of characters.
Exactly.
So yeah, got into it. So yeah, at this point it's probably been 10 years.
That's crazy.
Didn't you? Yeah. It feels crazy, especially when there's like so many people who are like, I've been playing since I was 10. And I was like, not me. but what I lack in like the long like tail of it, I make up for in ADHD hyperfixation. So I was like, I'm gonna hyperfocus and do this and get my like 10,000 Malcolm Gladwell hours in like a year and a half, which is deeply unhealthy. But we did it. I'm fine.
But also
thank you.
Successful. So maybe
It worked out.
But I think it's refreshing because, like you said, it's a different point of view that you have. Different point of view that you're bringing, and maybe you're bringing TV and film references versus just novel, which is fine.
Yeah.
Which is novel references, because I would hope with it being the base of improv that you can bring everything.
You can bring anything you want to it, and that's the nice part. And there will be people who are like so like high fantasy coded, like I can't go toe to toe with some of my peers and some of my friends on like the depth of reference set that they have for that. But I know what I like, and I know the stories that like appeal to me.
Yes.
And if it appeals to you, it appeals to other people.
Exactly.
So it's been really nice in the space. I started streaming in like 2018 on like a tiny channel. We would drive out to like Pasadena 3 times a week for free to go play on this little channel and like learn all the different games, because D&D is the biggest one, but there's also a bunch of like smaller ones that are way more specific, that are like, here's one for sci-fi, here's one for superheroes.
That's what I was gonna ask you about, like, because then I was trying to look up the lore of all these tabletop games.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
So you did a lot of No, don't.
I was like, Madison Square Garden? I need to understand why. I was like, am I been sleeping? I have been asleep, and I need to be awakened now. So no, I was really trying to be like, okay, did not know, LA has everything, but I was like, from Florida, did not know that there was tabletop places, which I love.
Yeah.
Socialize in person, dear God.
Yeah.
That people could play games. I was like, lovely. Why do you think D&D sticks out like top dog amongst all the other tabletop games? What are you thinking, like the qualities where people are like, this, D&D is this?
And this is a very fraught thing, so you're probably gonna get a lot of rage engagement on this, so good luck with that. D&D is definitely the biggest because it's one of the first, and just by virtue of it being like a lot of people's introduction to what this kind of improvised storytelling with like a little dice randomizer is. It's the first thing people have heard of. It's like backed by a bigger company. The people that make D&D are owned by Hasbro. So it's just easier to get the word out there. But there are truly thousands of indie games that are good. They just tend to tell more specific stories. I wouldn't say Dungeons and Dragons is like wildly better than any other system, but the way it's been built and the number of hands that have touched it across like the 50 years. I do know it's 50 because I ran their 50th anniversary game last year. Across their 50 years that they've been around, it's just been iterated on so much that it tends to bear fantasy collaborative storytelling the easiest.
Okay.
It's
like marketing. It's like
yeah.
the smaller games is like the indie feature films.
Exactly. Exactly. You're gonna struggle going up against like Marvel money.
Exactly.
10 times out of 10.
Okay.
Like it cannot be helped.
Okay.
But that does not mean that like Marvel films are wildly better than anyone's films.
Right.
And like it's just a matter of exposure and preference and money.
money.
So don't yell in the comments.
Oh my
I
god.
love so many systems, and I feel like I occasionally have to remind people, like, I'm the first one to bring not D&D into the dome. Calm down.
Come on.
I like lots of stuff.
Okay, good. That's a great thing because I was just like, dang, yeah, I didn't know tabletop hangouts happened, and then I was like, dang. When I was looking up all these other games, I was like, I've never heard of one of these, and I felt like I was like. Anyways.
It's hard if you're not inside of the pool.
Right.
Yeah, like it's you like see Disneyland from outside the park and you're like, oh, I see this like,
like,
one
oh, they're having
big
fun.
Matterhorn. Yeah. And you get in, you're like, oh, there's a bunch of rides in here.
Right.
I only just saw the one big one from outside of it.
Great.
Which is fine.
Great segue into my next question, even how you just described that. Yeah, I would say, and I was like, what makes her so special? Right? Even before I read other things about why you were special, I already knew, I was like, you speak so eloquently and like detail enriched and like auditory, visual details. Wow. I was like, okay, I see why people are hooked on her. Do you feel that came to you naturally? Just like expressing in such detail, or do you feel like, no, I was reading a bunch, I was writing a bunch, I was improvising a bunch to get to that level of detail?
I'm gonna give you the worst answer, which is I think it is both.
Okay.
I'm an only child, so very much like locked in my own little imagination. Yeah. So a lot of like time spent playing and telling stories to myself because I did not have a sibling.
Right.
I had a dog.
Right.
She was very bad at Barbies. Unfortunate. But every job I've had until I was able to do this full time has been working with children. So I was a tutor, I worked at a school, I was a coach. So there's been a lot of like how to explain concepts, especially ones that like have like the pain point of like, I have to do this for school, and if I do a bad job, like my parents will be mad, or like I'll get a bad grade. So a lot of like I have to teach high pressure concepts. So there's a lot of like how to do this in a way that feels very light and very easy and gets a lot of different perspectives to try to land the point. Like you don't teach algebra by saying like this is the one way you do it.
Right.
You explain it 9 different ways and you wait for the one that pops. And the same thing is kind of true as a dungeon master. You're like, okay, here's a clue I need you to pick up on to know where the story's headed. I can't rely on like one clue and like, I hope you solved my little mystery right here. You plant them a lot of other places, and the moment that gets picked up, you're like, great, that was the one the whole time. Let's go run with it. So I think I think that the truth is I've been trying to be good at recess and pretend and teaching and learning and communication with the best kind of people, which are young people who have fewer references. So you're like, oh, cool, what's the one thing you know? Because I have to explain it to you. You've experienced 11 things in your entire life. How do I make this make sense to you? What is a metaphor? So a lot of good practice with that, and then getting to like do it here.
What's a good teacher? Because some teachers are like, here's the one way, and that's it.
Yeah.
So that's a good teacher, she is. That's a good teacher. Okay, she's a black woman.
Hey!
Let's just talk about it.
We can say it.
We can say it.
We can say it here. It's safe.
We're saying it here. Let's see. I want to take someone else's quote versus my quote. Okay. Chase Carter said that you are quickly becoming a household name in the realm of tabletop actual play. Her fame has been a welcome change for many who are glad to see a black woman gaming, garnering so much respect and excitement in what has been a predominantly white endeavor with an historically white hobby. What does that statement... What thoughts come to you when you hear that statement?
It's one of those things where it's like it's an incredible honor. It makes me really happy to be like someone that can be a recognizable like landmark to help usher more people in. It's like, hey, we are in here. Fewer and farther between, but if I'm the first person you're seeing, my goal and my hope is that I'm not the only and not the last.
Right.
And a lot of the like kind of kicking down doors and making sure that I'm visible in places is when you kick in a door, you keep it open for everyone that comes next. So
exactly.
it's been really fun. And I mean, like if we're like kind of keeping it 100, like it's terrifying because you're like, I don't.
I was gonna ask you that too.
It's the Black woman of it all. Like at the end of the day, like the different like indexes of like marginalization means that there's going to be a lot more riding on my performance,
Right.
and the fear that like if I'm the first through the door and I screw it up, no one gets to follow me.
Exactly.
So then there's that added pressure of like,
Which is true.
Yeah.
It's not made up.
It's not made up.
Viola Davis has said that about the women. It's not.
Yeah. It's absolutely a thing, and I don't mean that in a way to like ask for any extra like sensitive
Grace.
There's no extra grace being like asked for here, but just understand that like everything that's happening, like there's the whole quote about like Ginger Rogers did everything Fred Astaire did, but like backwards and in heels. Like you're like, yeah, that's everything we're doing here. Like I have to work twice as hard to make my way into the door, because the first thing they're going to ask is like, oh, are you a diversity hire? Oh, do you even like any of this?
Right.
Like they nerd check you at the door on the way in.
Right.
Like, have you been playing this since you were 10 years old? Do you know 96 things about Lord of the Rings? It's why I like make the bit. Hey, we can say it here now. The whole me not knowing Lord of the Rings, yeah, obviously that's a bit. But there is something in kind of holding my ground and saying like, no, I was not raised in like the traditional high fantasy setting, because all those things cater to young white men.
Exactly.
And I was not exposed to that or invited. Yeah, having not been a young white man at any point in my life, who knows in the future? I'm hoping for a transracial future, and I can come back as just like a little white boy and have just a real go of it, go on a full Campbellian monomyth, like hero's adventure. But I shouldn't have to like prove myself inside of a system that never invited me in.
Right.
So.
Right. Yeah, it's crazy. I feel like we're on the same track, because you're literally already answering questions that I was going to ask you. Because, that's essentially what I was going to ask you. Because in a TikTok, I don't know if it was a joke or not, but I feel like it's probably not, that the CEO of Dropout wants an Emmy.
Yeah.
So I was going to ask you about that, of like, Sam. Yeah, exactly, Sam. Didn't want to name him out. You can Google. I wanted to know how you felt behind the table of like, is it 100% fun, where I feel like maybe white counterparts can just have fun and this is a game, or is it also that conflicted feeling of like, I have to do extremely well and get this Emmy so that all the POC can finally, is it that inner of like having fun, but this is also a job and it needs to be A+, you know what I mean?
And I'm not going to like defang any of this by saying there isn't like extra pressure as a Black woman in all of this. But there is something at this level of this very like niche art form. I think everyone sitting here and making art and trying to expand like the view of what kind of stories we can tell inside of like this kind of gaming has that pressure of like, of course this is like fun. I'm sitting here with my friends making shit up as we go. And like, especially like over at Dimension 20, where we have like fun sets and like all of the like art stuff that gets applied to it. Like there is just genuine joy and whimsy and like dazzling your friends and trying to scare them with like cool shadow puppets behind the walls, or like little animations and things. But that pressure is universal for everyone at this stage. Right. But on top of that, I think there is the pressure of making sure that if you are the ambassador to your identities for a lot of people who maybe by virtue of liking this and other things that tend to be a little more monocultural, having to put your best foot forward all the time and knowing you might not always get the grace that other people do is absolutely a thing to be considered. But everything with like Sam wanting his Emmy, look, my weird little seasons of Dimension 20 are not going to be the one to do it. I mean, they could be. Hey, let's give Burroughs End an Emmy, please and thank you.
Universe.
But I do think there's something really fun, especially in like, big shout out to Dropout and Sam Reich, that like he's being so kind about like, come tell the stories that you're interested in. And in a world where I think Brennan is very much the like MCU, like comes in with these like amazing swings, and the Intrepid Heroes are killers, and like every one of those seasons is so big and bold and brash and wonderful. And I get to like come in behind and be like, here's my little A24 film that's like, what if we deconstruct like magical schools because the awful woman that wrote them did a bad job to begin with, and we can tell a story that does feel very like personal as a like Black woman, and say that like, if I had to put down and divest myself fully of all fiction that like otherized me or like harmed me culturally, there would be very little left. So the process of learning how to like keep what you can keep and divest from the rest and build better things in the future and learn from like the fiction that fails you is a thing that I think a lot of people that like grow up in like marginalized identities have to do anyway. So like, let's make that a part of the trick of this season. Here's how you burn down the XP for Hogwarts and say like, everything's in turmoil, everything's chaotic. And like the story of Miss Mag too is like, great, all of it is chaos, all of it is bad. How do you build something good out of that wreckage? How can you make something that you're proud of, something that can like stand the test of time, and know that you are part of a cycle of a world trying to find itself better cyclically over and over, and know that like maybe 20 years down the line, you'll be a person that's like, oh yeah, the jokes that you were making before are not appropriate now.
Right.
You are part of the cycle of people becoming more like conscious of how like their culture and their humor and their storytelling affects different groups. You are a part of an ever-improving cycle. Be fine being on every part of it. Be part of the charge that is demanding that the past do better. Be part of be a part of knowing that there will be a future that might ask better of you, and all of that is good.
Wow. God.
And then sometimes you throw some like butt jokes in there.
And then humor. But it's always in reality of what we're going through. You touch on everything. So smart. She touches on everything I'm going to ask her. Because, the Misfits and Magic and then the Fae Flowers.
Yeah.
I was going to ask, like, now that you're like, hey, here are my A24 things.
Yeah.
Why those themes? Tell me, out of all the things in the world to choose from, why are those themes?
It's one of those things where you're like, cool. There are a lot of incredible creators in this group, but I do think that there's like sort of a little trifecta that we talk about when we talk about DMs in this space, and it's usually myself. Thank you for including me, and like Brennan Lee Mulligan and Matt Mercer. And in a world where they have got high fantasy on lock, they've got it. I'm not gonna show up with my like, hey guys, I just finished the third Lord of the Ring 12 hours ago. I think I've got the next big hit.
Right.
At some point you have to realize that like being authentic to the things that you care about and telling the stories that you care about means that you might not be doing the thing that is the most obvious or the most like easily marketable or most palatable, but if you are authentic to yourself and you like ruthlessly and passionately pursue the thing you care about, you will find your demographic in there.
Yeah.
So I'm a filthy little Bridgerton girly. I love that. I love like romantasy. I love smut. I love messy feelings. I think that is just as fun as like a big bad battle.
Yeah.
I love building D&D characters that are like, this is my fun little thing is, I was a player in a short form game called Calamity, and really got to like build like the nastiest, like mechanically competent wizard ever. And they had to change the rules in the new D&D book, because my character is busted, so you can't play my old character anymore. So all of that to say, I love playing a mechanically like, she's so good at casting spells and killing stuff.
Yeah.
But like the stories I like to tell are about like politics and feelings and like how to connect with other people. I think I'm just like, the little only child in me is like, the scariest fight ever, opening up your heart to others.
No, people say that in comments of things I've watched of you of like, I had to pause to cry, now I'm back. Like I was not expecting to feel these feels.
I will make you cry on the comedy channels I appear on.
Exactly.
I'm sorry, I don't know the brief, but I keep getting emails about
Life
it.
is both things.
It's both.
Life is both things. Yeah, no, another person said that, and I have to agree. They said, like, Brennan is more narrative focused and you're more character focused. And I was like, I think that's what it is when I'm watching these. That I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
It's so fun being a fan of the things your friends are creating in front of you in real time. It's hard for me to not go like, wait, what's going on with your little guy? Oh, hold on, let's dig into it. What if I'm like, and playing foils and being like, okay, I want you to feel like the hero of this story. and every good hero needs a bad guy. So
For sure.
it is just so fun being just an ever-increasing pile of nasty little guys to make my friends look heroic and romantic and special and wonderful, because they always are.
I like it. I love it. Okay, so writing. Okay, we're gonna talk about the fade.
Yeah!
Okay, so this is your first novel that you published?
Comic book.
Comic book.
Yeah,
Okay.
graphic
I was
novel.
like, graphic
Okay.
novel.
Yeah, what's the word we use? I don't know.
I don't know. I was
don't
like, what is
know.
the type?
We call them wordy pictures.
Okay. So so improv to like D&D to then walk us through the thought process of you, I'm gonna write this story. What was it about the story? And then I'm gonna publish it.
Yeah. So my first like nerdy. So I've said a lot about like, oh, my like winter fumble day was a geek and my husband's a geek. So am I. Let me be so clear. My first like fandom was comic books when I was a little kid. My dad would take me to the comic store every Wednesday, and we would grab like a bunch. It was mostly like I'm an X-Men girly till I die. So as all of this was popping off and like doors were beginning to open, I do remember like one of the first big asks that I asked of my like darling manager Sax, where he's like, well, what would you want to do? I was like, man, if I could just do something touching a comic book, that would make me so happy. It feels like it would be like a direct love letter to like little 8-year-old me sitting in a pile of Uncanny X-Men going like, well, of course I like Storm because she's the black lady with cool weather powers, but I also like Emma Frost and I'm gonna have to unpack that later. Little did we know that the 8-year-old was like, oh, I'm a bitch, but I can't process that yet. We'll find it. We'll find it.
I'm 8.
Why? But we can feel it coming online. Puberty's right around the corner. So yeah, I was reached out to by Boom Studios, and we were talking about A Court of Fan Flowers and the like sort of sweeping romance and isekai, like going into another world of it all. And yeah, I ended up like landing in and around a story that was really about just that like turning. It's not about the like coming of age, but something about when you first hit that threshold of adulthood and all of the fiction you were raised in. Like so much of the fiction that we like point towards children is like at some point your adventure will begin. Something magical will happen to you and it will open a door and you'll go on this adventure and you'll become who you were always meant to be. Harry Potter. It's Harry Potter. It's every Disney movie. It's Joseph Campbell's like monomyth again and again and again. From 16 to 18, something happens and you receive the call. And by answering it, you become who you were intended to be, something heroic. And there's something inside of hitting that age, 16 to 18, and you're waiting for the thing to happen and nothing happens. Because at the end of the day, the process of becoming who you're gonna be is internally motivated. It's not some external thing. No white rabbit's going to show up and lead you down a hole and show you who you are. So the Fade was my sort of love letter to, I love isekais, I love falling into another world and trying to figure out who you are inside of it. But having the like main moral of the story be that like the person you're gonna become has to be the person you drive yourself to be. You can't, like you have to be in the author seat of your story. And there are so many people, myself included, that were like raised on stories again and again that have to like break that cycle of like what will come and change me. And the answer has to be you. So yeah.
God, so beautiful. These answers are so beautiful. And I also feel like not everything's about race, but most things are.
It's a lens through which we experience our life. All of my stories will be black in their heart because they are written by a black woman who is never going to put down her blackness. Look, I don't have any tattoos, but I'm hypothetically covered in them. But one of the ones I've always wanted to get is going to be on my forearm that says, "No one's coming to save you. Get up."
That's so funny.
And it's just that like there's always that moment where you're like, God. Someone that cares enough will break through the shell of my like internal anxiety. It's like, no, save yourself. At the like in the very worst case scenario, some of like the interesting mental gymnastics that I know a lot of like other entertainers and like storytellers like. I love the fact that Beyonce has like Sasha Fierce in her head, like this alternate version of herself that she can like lean into. When I get the most in my own head and feel like I'm falling into something and like have that sense of like someone grabbed me, I definitely think of myself. This is gonna be a weird D&D cut, so I'm sorry about it. One of the D&D classes is a warlock, and it's the idea that like you get your power from this like powerful like deity or like fey creature or demon patron that like asks things of you, but then in exchange like you get powers from it.
Okay.
And I love living in a world where I'm like I am a warlock of my future self. So whenever I need someone to reach for me to save me, it is the future version of me that knows I can do it because I will be there someday.
Wow.
So reach back for yourself, save yourself, and keep going.
Wow, that is great. I'm not even lying to you. I was literally gonna put no one's coming to save you. I literally thought this. I don't have tattoos either, and I literally was like, because I always like to look back at my hands like I can create anything.
Yes!
And that's literally, this is not a lie. I've literally thought about the same thing.
Let's go!
That is crazy. I was like, okay.
So we're best friends. Let's go get tattoos. Big coconut in the club today.
Oh my goodness. Crazy. We're on the same page. Okay. So since your whole profession is essentially online.
Yeah.
We gotta talk about negativity.
Let's do it. I've never experienced any, and for anyone that would, skill issue.
100% on Rotten Tomatoes. So yeah, it's funny because, not that I compare you to her, but I don't know why I thought of your passion similar to Chloe Bailey. I was just like, yeah, these people are like hyper fixated, super passionate. I don't know why it just came to me when I was like looking at you.
I don't hate that.
Negative feedback she gets, which to me is so funny that this is negative. They're like, she's too passionate. I'm like, about your passion?
Yeah.
About your passion?
Something.
You're too passionate. How are you dealing with negativity? If someone is trying to follow in your footsteps, I want to be online, I want to start my own Twitch or YouTube channel. How are you dealing with the negative?
Yeah.
How are we processing
The answer is it's been the work of the last like 4 or 5 years to like, and it's me and my therapist. Just
okay, great.
Besties at this point.
Therapy.
Yeah. Oh God. Have someone to talk to.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of it is knowing that like human brains aren't meant to process the like response at that scale no matter what. And for those who are more comforted by like the sort of facts and logic of it all, for the most part, the negativity you get will be a statistically insignificant portion of the people consuming your, like most people will watch it and feel however they feel about it and not say anything and move on with their day. They will continue to scroll. Yeah, realizing that like most of the things I like, I've never told anyone on the internet that I like was such a revelation where I was like, oh, my favorite shows, I've never been on their subreddits.
Right.
I've never posted a thing. I'm on Tumblr all day long because I'm weird that way. And I don't I don't reblog things from the things I genuinely love. Mostly I just consume them and move on. So mostly people won't say anything. And then there is a like passionate group of people that want to affirm and find community inside and around the art that you make. And that's great. And the amount of negativity will be a fraction of a percent. If we were talking this in like statistical things, you're like, oh, it's below the floor of being counted in data sets. It's just the like awful habit of human psychology that's gonna make you dwell on the thing because if they write your name. And shout out to my parents for making my name perfect SEO so I can look up every meme thing if you spell my name right. Thank God a lot of them don't. Woo! They will throw a Y in there and that saves my ass every time.
And it just kind of shows your intellect level as well.
Yeah.
You can't even come with a negative comment,
If you're gonna be mean, my name definitely has like 3 Y's in it. Don't worry about it. Throw an H in there for good measure.
Hilarious.
But like if the sort of facts of it all is more helpful, if the sort of feelings of it all is a little easier to land on, it is just the understanding that like people are hyperbolic online. Like an anonymous person isn't a person. They are a voice trying to garner their own gravitational well and will yell exponentially stranger and stranger things to get a response. So like the love will be hyperbolic and the hatred will be hyperbolic. And if you're ignoring the people who are like, one chance I'll marry you, then you can ignore the bad stuff too. They are both, outside of the mean of normal human interaction. Right. It's just really hard to ignore because it all feels so deeply personal. Right. That's how our meat works in our brain.
Wow. Honesty.
Yeah.
Yes, but no, I like that. Statistically, this is the one random person, and a lot of people are bots.
Yeah.
A lot of people are bots.
Yep.
I literally did a little research on that. It's because they want you to stay on the platform.
Yeah.
A lot of them are bots.
Watching the sort of like decay of Twitter was really enlightening when it comes to like how social media, like what it actually is in reality versus how it feels when you're on it. You're like, oh, it's just a successively stranger echo chamber because you're yelling over the last loudest noise. So you have to go absolutely apeshit in order to be heard at all. And then most of the people rallying around the like weirdest thing are bots. Because it's money at the end of the day. It's not real.
Lame.
Capitalism is a trap.
That we're in. No. Okay. I'm going to go back to the book. It doesn't have to be the book, but I assume, maybe it's a wrong assumption, shouldn't make assumptions, that you're probably writing now.
I am.
Okay. So for the people who are like, I want to write, how do we get over, okay, two things.
Yeah.
What inspires you to write when you're like, whoa, ideas are abundant? And then when ideas are abundant, how are you getting over writer's block?
Yeah. Having to like square myself with the like truth that ideas are easy and it's execution that's hard is like, it's so rotten. I want to live in that like Homer, like sing muse of this thing. I want a near Greek deity to come and kiss me on the forehead and give me a good idea, and then everything just flows out of me. That's not how any of this works, my God. It's about building the muscle of like, it's anything else you've ever learned. It's remembering to brush your teeth every night before you go to bed. Like you just wake up and do it. And this is where I think like sports actually comes in really, really handy. Because one of my favorite things of like in practicing for sports, which is most of sports, is like the 30-30 rule, where you're like 30% of the time, you should feel really good coming out of practice. Like you're like, oh, I'm getting it. I understand now. Like we're connecting on like these plays or this like skill or ability that you're trying to hone. 30% of the time should feel absolutely rotten. And that's proof that you are pushing yourself. If you feel good coming out of every practice, you're not working hard enough. If you feel bad after every practice, like you are missing some fundamental mark and you're not improving. You're just shaming, like you're just in a weird shame cycle. And then 30% of the time, and I know this doesn't add up to 100, but don't worry about it. Athletes don't do numbers that well. 30% of the time should just feel normal. Like it's just a day. You went to practice and you came home and you won't, there's no story to tell about it. There's no big lesson to learn. There's no like, it's not part of the like the Disney original film that like, it doesn't make the clip show. And that's true for everything. Some days when you're writing should feel great, where you have this great idea, or you figure out how to like connect a character, or how to like break into the next act and like tie something off. 30% of the time, it's just like you just wake up and you put some words down and you're like, I'm gonna go back and fix those words later. Yeah. But at least they're on the page to get it done. And some days are just a struggle session. Yeah. And you just gotta know that when you're inside it, be as graceful with yourself as you can. Like writer's block is real, but there's nothing in the clenching around the concept of it that will move you through it. You find a new way, you find another way around. Like we were talking earlier about the like, when you're trying to teach a kid, like a little kid, a math concept, you find a bunch of different perspectives and see which one hits. If you are struggling to get the next paragraph out, go do something else. Go make a Pinterest board. Go make a Spotify playlist. I'm not sponsored by any of these companies, but they can sponsor me and get at me. Go find some other way to be creative and think about the story that you want to tell and the characters that you like, and do something with them that is pleasing and doesn't feel like it's as full of pressure. And then know that you're just in one of the bad third. And tomorrow's a different day. And give yourself the best possible chance to clean slate it and come at it again, instead of trying to hold on to, I didn't get it done yesterday. Tomorrow has to be different. And you're like, no, that's how you stay stuck in that for weeks.
Wow, actually great advice. Different approaches.
Hey!
Wow!
And I have to tell myself this actively because is she behind deadline right now on some projects? Yes. I'm gonna go home and do a playlist.
Oh no, crazy. Okay, life. We're gonna talk about real stuff.
Ooh.
Okay, so I told her I was deep diving on the gram, over 900 posts. Whee, whee, I was doing my research. Okay, so real life stuff here. Okay, that was writer's block. We were talking about your mom.
Yeah.
How she went through cancer treatment.
Yeah.
So for people, maybe there's someone watching who they have a loved one, maybe themselves. Like, what was the process for you of finding out, then going through it, and luckily now she's in remission?
Yeah, she's in remission. She's doing great. My mom got her cancer diagnosis, I think like a month before I got engaged. So like going through all of the wedding cycle of it all was very much tinged with the like, it was, she got a good like prognosis, but of course the fear remains regardless that you're like, am I doing this so that like I can like hit this milestone and so she can know I'm taken care of? Like it's so hard to like not think about all of the scary big sort of like story beats of it all. Yeah. So I think there was a lot of the like fear sitting on top of it, but actually being inside of it with my mom. And she's a former Marine and like the strongest, cool, like she's from the south side of Chicago, which is its own sort of like thing to get up and through, and like, got a scholarship to go to college.
Wow.
And like, she's been through so many crazy things that like having her perspective, especially like in the like age differential of it all, like being a young adult and going like, this must be the scariest thing that's ever happened to anyone. And she's like, this is one scary thing in a lifetime of victories over scary shit that I did every day. Cause she's like, yeah, remember the part where I used to like carry a gun around? Like I patrolled a DMZ, like if cancer is the fear of death, death lurks everywhere, and having to walk through the process in the like comfort and safety of like knowing that there's a medical like road to walk down isn't necessarily more difficult than the sort of like fear of random violence and random death everywhere else. So this will simply be another thing that I triumph over.
Wow.
And watching her definitely gave me a little bit of like that, like, oh, I understand now that like there is something inside of like aging that is the like fuck you to like life and death. And you're like, the longer I'm here, the more I realize that like all of the like the lowest lows and the highest highs are part of the noise of my life. Like it all balances out. This is just one thing, and it will be a part of like, people aren't stories per se, but this will be a part of a story. It will not define it. No one thing defines me. And I think that's been a really nice lesson, especially as someone who like has done so many different things in their life that like I feel released from a lot of the pressure of like, no one thing will define you. Especially not a cancer diagnosis. And now she's just chilling and vibing. She's now played one thing of D&D and thinks she's an expert. She went full like sports mom, and now like will occasionally call me up and be like, yes! And she would call me up and be like, so I was watching Brendan's new season, and it made me think about this last thing I saw you do. Now, why didn't you do voices like you did? And I was like, I'm getting notes. I'm getting notes from my mother. And she's right! So anyway, nothing's gonna take that broad down.
Wow, guys, that's such a great perspective to have. Okay, so she sounds awesome. Okay, so parents, mom and dad.
Yeah.
I guess, only child. What is your relationship with them like? What are the best lessons?
My parents are my best friends.
They're besties. No, it's refreshing to hear because that's not like always the case.
Yeah.
What's like the best lessons you've learned from them, and were they always supportive of like D&D? If I didn't know about it, I feel like they didn't know about it.
No.
So
I had to get pretty famous at it before they were like, okay. I to this day, my dad is just a man that needed sons that played more sports. Like, there's a whole weird like I don't know, in the sort of like myth of like the characters I played. There's a lot of like yellow and purple that shows up a lot for color schemes for like shows and characters. And it's because I think in my heart, I'm just constantly trying to trick my dad into thinking that any of my D&D stuff is a Lakers game, so he'll watch it. It hasn't worked yet, but it could next time. Papa, be proud of me. Please.
Oh gosh. So it had to be until you're like, yeah, I'm doing this full time now, for them to be like, okay.
Yeah.
But before they were like, what?
Yeah, 100%. They were like, so when are you gonna just go be a lawyer? Like, when are you gonna kind of buckle down and do something good and important?
I see.
Like, oh, okay, well, this is thing called D&D. I'm one of the few people that can like do this for a living.
Yeah.
And then finally, what was it? One of my dad, so my dad's a personal trainer, and one of his clients' kids, Aabria is a pretty uncommon name, and I think he said it, and he was like, oh yeah, there's this like streamer I like named Aabria Iyengar, blah, 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 and like pulled up a clip and like showed my dad a clip of me doing D&D, and I remember him calling me being like, do people watch you? I was like, oh, cool. Hey bud, I'm currently at Gen Con running again, the like 50th anniversary, like.
So funny.
Yeah, big dog. You know that big game Baldur's Gate? I play with the guys that did the voice. Yeah, yes, Dad.
Yeah, a few.
Yeah, I guess.
A few people.
Yeah, like a couple. I don't know.
Just on one hand.
Yeah.
Oh, parents. So funny.
That was sort of the point where they were like, oh, I guess you're like doing a thing. Cool.
Okay.
Look, they really missed the whole improv of it all, where I was like, I'm doing improv, I'm doing comedy, I love it. And they're like, great.
Right.
So like Saturday Night Live? Are you gonna go be on Saturday Night Live? And I was like, man, y'all really don't have.
You just have only one reference point.
Yes! Truly!
You're saying about teaching, they don't have all the different ways. They only have the one reference point. Okay, so that's good. That's not good to hear, but that's like, I guess relatable to hear of the parents not, because what it seems like, you're saying best friend. I was like, oh, it seems like they were supportive the whole way through. Yeah. But that's good to know that at least that part was relatable.
Yeah, they're very like, they're supportive in the like, if you like it, I love it, which is a dismissive phrase. But yeah, I think they've always been supportive. They just don't understand, like the understanding didn't lock in until later on, which is fair, I guess. There's lots of things happening.
Oh, hilarious.
The good wife is on, so they gotta split their time.
Okay, out of like, you've been in the industry forever now. I always like to ask a cliche kind of question of like, what's a good piece of advice that you like to give people, either like that was given to you or you like to give to people? And then I always like to know, what's a bad piece of advice that you've been given that you're like, no, don't do that?
Oh, that's great. Oh, I really like the bad advice one.
Do it first.
Oh, okay. No. Okay, I want to keep cooking on the bad advice.
Okay, keep cooking.
I think my favorite good advice that I was given was, and this is like not even given by like a person I know, but again, in the throes of the sort of like doing more and like more high profile projects and being more like opened up more to like larger scales of critique and criticism. Journey Smollett said like, I don't take feedback from people who don't do what I do at the level I do it. And that really turned something on in my head, because like it's so easy to feel like all online criticism is one, offered in good faith, which of course it isn't, but it's hard to like remember that all the time. But also people that are like prescribing different tacks, if they haven't done what you've done at anywhere near the level you've done it, like they are speaking from their place of understanding, which even under the best of circumstances cannot replicate like the system under which you are performing. So grain of salt, huge grain of salt. And when the critiques are just sort of like wildly out of nowhere, you're like, why would I listen to like a heart surgeon can't tell me about how to tell a story in an improvised medium on a comedy streaming channel. Like they are brilliant and good at what they do, hopefully, but they don't know what you do and cannot be, no one's an expert in every field. So take critique from the people who can offer it with something approaching your lens in mind. And
agreed.
Yeah.
I love that so much. So what's the bad stuff? What's the bad advice? They're like, oh my God, stop. Don't.
Yes. Worst advice is, for me, I think it's always around like, you really gotta pace yourself. Like make sure you're not doing too much. Like this is gonna sound bad because I'm not advocating for burning yourself out. But I do advocate for like, if you are on fire, run that down. Like, if you're fired up and you can sit down and write in a 12-hour burst and you like time and resources allow you to do that, follow the like natural tide of your attention and care and creativity in whatever shape it is. Because I know I've tried very hard to like hold myself to like, well, I'm only gonna do this for like 2 hours a day and ration it out. And like, it just felt so antithetical to like the cadence of how I like to be creative that like all of the like sort of kindly worded like don't do it so much that you like burn yourself out of it. It assumes that like passion is a finite resource. And I think it's a fire that if you feed will continue to grow. You just have to make sure you can find time to find more resources to burn in offering to it. So like obviously give yourself breaks and find ways to refill your cup because you cannot be an endless font of like output. You have to find input. But I don't like that people try very early to tell you like, do it just a little bit so you have enough of it forever. And you're like, feed the fire, feed the fire. But that also means like understand the cadence of the fire and when to throw a log on and when to enjoy how it's burning. I sound like an arsonist and I'm afraid of lighters. So this is a really bad analogy for me specifically.
No, it's great. Again, why you're a master here with the great. I saw the description. Wow, amazing. But I think that's great. Like, yeah, everyone's pace is different.
Yeah. So don't let people tell you about your pace. And if you're having fun and if the time is well spent and you are proud of the things that you're doing, even if it's just like, I mean, like the reason we say don't play video games 30 hours a day is because like we exist in society and like maybe go socialize and you probably have to have a job. We exist in capitalism. But if it feels good to sit and do a thing in a big burst and you have the like ability to sit and do so, like follow your cadence.
Yeah. Because
there are times when like you just hit that like weird like a few too many hours in and you go a little crazy, but then there's something about like it's how do you find your flow state? Yeah. My flow state comes like being really locked in. Like some shoot days, like Dimension 20 shoot days for like they tend to be long. I'm never happier. I get to sit and the world has organized itself so I can play D&D. I can tell stories with my friends. I can do like this cool art and like collaborate with people both like in front of and behind the camera for 12 hours in a row. And I'm so excited. Like I don't want to eat and I don't want to go like do all these other things. Like I get to just pursue the thing I want and the thing I'm passionate about ruthlessly. And I think we should be a little more accommodating to the like run it down while you can run it down. Because you won't always have the like time to do that.
True. I'm the same way. I like to edit. I will take the 8 to 12 hour day to edit this interview.
Yeah.
I'm not chopping it up into different days. I don't like it. A task needs to be checked off my list.
Yes! Especially when you're like, now I've got the like cadence of it. I can't remember the flow of a, oh my God.
What do I want to clip? What did she just say?
Who was I yesterday? Again,
I don't know
future me doesn't remember what past me wanted. We gotta do it now.
Hilarious. Oh my God, I was looking back at my notes. I forgot to ask.
Ooh.
Okay, so the podcast, independent podcast.
Yeah.
You're doing a lot.
Yeah.
We're just talking about cadence.
We love it.
We're on the D&D. We're writing the books. What in your mind was like, now let's do a podcast?
Well, Brennan and Erica and Lou are my favorite people in the world and like truly the best to ever tell stories with, and that was the thing. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
I was like somewhere.
Okay.
I'm not a professional.
No, she is a professional. I'm taking up more of her time, so you guys better watch the whole thing through.
But like, yeah, at the end of the day, like, there's a lot of like being sort of a wandering. Like Erica and I use the analogy of being like a wandering Ronin of like. I wasn't there when Dimension 20 was built. I wasn't there when Critical Role was built. So at some point you want to have a thing that you're like, I built a little fiefdom for myself, something that can me and like I can pour my creative energy into and be my own boss,
right?
And kind of make those bigger decisions. And yeah, Worlds Beyond Number has just been this like wonderful, like it is both the like home game that we've always wanted. And there's like silly jokes in D&D where you're like, oh man, it's just impossible to get all your friends together to actually play D&D. So sometimes the easiest thing to do is to make an entire company about it. And you're like, now we get to hang out and do our fun thing, but for fun and profit. And then really just pop off in all the ways that we find wonderful and tell the most like us stories we can. The character I'm playing now on our current main campaign, The Wizard, the Witch, and the Wild One, I'm playing the toughest character I've ever played. A lot of D&D is like, we're a squad of sweeties and we're all here to do this like big adventure, and it's usually the stories are usually like this squad versus the world.
Okay.
But I think like the stories, again, going past the like standard high fantasy of it all, my favorite stories, like the things I like in fiction and film and television, has like interpersonal conflict. It is, we are on the same all on the same team, but like even like my favorite stories about family butts up against each other. Like not everyone holds the same perspective or treats each other kindly or gently for all of these reasons, and you have to figure out how to get along with each other before you can turn and go, now it's all of us on the same team versus the world. So it's been a gift and a thing I would not attempt at this level anywhere else but being safe and comfortable with my favorite like storytellers and friends in the world to play a difficult character that has to unpack and unlearn a lot of terrible things. I'm essentially playing kind of a wizard fascist.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So how do you learn from like being raised inside of like how are you raised inside of an imperial core as Empire's initial victim? This is going to be very Black very quickly. Like, how do you tell a story about being Black in America where you're like, as a like descendant of the transatlantic slave trade, I am one of America's primary victims, and yet still being raised as an American inside the system, depending on like how I move through the world, I go from being a victim of imperialist American violence to someone who perpetuates that violence throughout the world. So what is the thing you owe? What is the culture you hold on to? In the same way that like Black American culture gets systematically erased by white supremacist patriarchy, like constantly. Like we can talk about the Cowboy Carter of it all, of like, is Beyonce being needlessly patriotic, or is she talking about like the Black influence inside of country music and how all of that's inexorably tied, and a veneration of the culture that she remembers and she was raised with that's always constantly being literally whitewashed away, is not the same thing as like holding to and upholding American imperialist violence. They are different things, and it requires nuance to look at, but you have to look at it. And like Black creators are doing so much to talk about that and look at it right now. And it feels really nice to play a little wizard in a little weird world that is still having that same conversation of like, my love of this aspect of this like of this empire is not because I love the concept of empire. It's because I understand that like everything inside of the Citadel is a culture that had to that was raised as the people the children stolen by this system and turned into weapons of war, and we've created our own little like world inside of it. And yeah, that does mean that like when we walk outside of our borders, we are a part of imperialist violence. But I have to be able to hold both truths, that like I am a part of a culture that is constantly erased, and I hold that, but I also have to unlearn all the ways in which my existence is harmful. So, and then there's also like magic and jokes. So,
sprinkle
it in on the top.
Just some real shit. No, that's great. No, let me find this one thing I wanted to quote. Oh my God, too many notes.
She came prepared. We love it.
Too many
She watched
notes.
thousands of hours of Dungeons or Dragons.
And I said I should probably play this first before watching people play it. But it said, because that was January 2023 when you guys launched it, supposedly according to the web.
Yes.
I don't know if you know, but it says the show premiered in March of 2023 and ranked in Patreon's top 20 accounts within a month.
We did. It's a very fun fact that we are the biggest first day, first month Patreon release that's ever happened. It was incredibly cool. Like everyone showed up. We had like a little breakfast where we're like, I wonder how many people will get in the first week, and we all like wrote little numbers down, and all of our numbers were like 3. We're like, what if 11 people sign up? And we had thousands on the first day, and like tens of thousands within the first month, and it was it is sweet and heartening that people showed up on day one and remain here to see the stories we tell, and I cannot speak for the rest of my group, even though I know they share the sentiment, but like it always pushes me to want to tell more and drive harder. Suvi is a difficult character that I'm passionate about because I know that the people that are like, that showed up day one, like I want to do the most I can at any point, and even if it makes me a little crazy. But
no, that's
amazing.
amazing.
You gotta swing. Big swings, baby.
How you just described that to me, I feel like I was like, okay, I think that I can listen to. I don't know if I can watch 3 hours of D&D, but I think I can listen to the podcast.
The nice thing about the podcast is like every episode is like an hour, and because they're like fully soundscaped, Taylor Moore is an absolutely unreal producer and like learned to compose for it. So like even when we like when the episodes come out, we're like, damn, we were just yapping in a room. Taylor made this like pretty. So like even when we listen to it, we're like, damn, okay, this kind of slaps. So like it really is everyone firing on all cylinders.
Yeah.
I would highly recommend it. It's very good. But also I'm biased because it'll pay me. So thank you for the money.
Okay, I feel like, I don't know if it's a personal thing for me, I don't know if it's a personal thing for you, but as POC, I do want us to call out the times where we're proud of ourselves or acknowledge the times that we're like, yeah, I did that. I don't feel like I do that enough. I don't know if you feel like you do that enough.
No, I just had a whole mental breakdown about like not celebrating big moments.
Exactly. That's one reason I put those on the list. I was just like, 600 people auditioned for 10 spots and I got one of those spots. I should probably like,
let's go.
Be happy about
that.
Yeah. And I'm not half the time. So I'm just like, let me start putting it up.
We're always expected to act like we've been there and be graceful, and that means like not feeling like you're doing anything that like gloats or brags.
Right.
But celebrate wins.
Celebrate wins. So yes, let's celebrate you. So what are 2 things that you're proud of in the world of D&D, like your career, and outside of it, like in your personal life? So
okay. I will say my first big one is a thing that was kindly called online the summer of Aabria. So in 2021, it was when I ran Misfits and Magic on Dimension 20 and Exandria Unlimited Prime over on Critical Role, and was the first person to step in that wasn't inside of the like core original cast to go like sit in the driver's seat on both of those channels. And it was terrifying and very, very fun. And then I got to leverage that into doing a bunch of other really fun projects. I think there was like a silly tweet that was like, I took the DM slot from Brendan and Matt. Griffin McElroy, you're next. And then like got a DM and they're like, do you want to come run at the Adventure Zone? I was like, actually, yes, that's huge. Please. It's amazing. You're one of the channels I watched when I was learning how to play D&D. Like, could you imagine? So I think that whole summer and the realization that like, yeah, it's the pressure of like, you want to make sure that if you're the first one through the door, that you do a good enough job that other people can get too. But then really reveling in the fact that you're like, once people get over the fact that you are not their like fave that they're used to, they will find you and find something to resonate with. So keep swinging big. Like that was like the big lesson for me, which was like, keep swinging big. Like you went and ran like a non-D&D system in D20. So then I came back the next year and was like, actually, what if there aren't battle sets? What if this is an entirely like social game? Let's run Good Society. Let's make it Bridgerton with a little bit of D&D mixed in. And then like ever since then, it's the swing big. They won't always be dingers, but like at least you can stand behind the big effort that like got your whole heart and you were passionate about and you pursued to the best of your ability. So Summer of Aabria, and then I think the like off-Broadway, like getting to go and do the 20-sided tavern in New York City was crazy. Like as like the youngest version of me that like wanted to be an actor and wanted to do musical theater, but I'm not that good a singer. getting to go and be like, oh, I'm going to do 2 weeks on an off-Broadway show. And then go drop in and do a bunch of shows. Like the show that Erica and I dropped in on during the Madison Square Garden, like a Dimension 20 sold out show. We went and dropped in on TST, and it was all Dimension 20 fans, and was so good and so fun. Like just the most like hometown crowd. It was just the best feeling. And then getting to go back, and I went back and did like a month-long run in February, where I actually got to be the dungeon master, which is like a completely different thing inside of the way that shows run.
Yeah.
And just being trusted with more and more responsibility inside of these things that are farther and farther than from my initial like purview as a little guy that sits on the internet behind a screen and says like, here's a pretend monster, does it kill your pretend guy? Feels crazy. So those are my two like big ones that like every now and then I remember, and I'm just like, damn, okay, let's go. Then keep it pushing to the next thing.
Yeah. Let's go back to this. Let's be proud of this.
Yeah. Okay.
Amazing. No, good.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
Yeah.
Okay. 200 years go by. We're both dead. Oh no.
Oh no.
And there's a newspaper remembering you. What do you want your legacy to be? What would you want that article to be about?
I hope it is. I have like a silly joke answer, and I will actually just jump over that and sit and remain sincere. That I hope that people continue inside of this kind of storytelling, because it's so fun to sit down and figure out like a whole arc and a whole world and a whole like person and people and narrative inside your head. It's this thing that it's like improv. It only exists in this room with this exact group of people and that exact suggestion and this like audience interaction. I hope people keep doing it forever, and I hope in 200 years, if they say my name, it is a part of the like, and here's why it's not just high fantasy. Here's one of the reasons that like we tell just myriad stories inside of this world, and we don't feel bounded by telling stories with a very like sort of violent Western European high fantasy core that sits under it. Anything can happen. It's just a matter of getting people you care about and beginning to tell a story. Yeah.
That's important.
Yeah.
I like that legacy. Okay, so essentially the whole channel, so it's called It Takes a Universe to Raise a Star. And it's based on the old African proverb, it takes a village to raise a child. Yeah. So I felt like everybody in this industry pursuing their dreams is a star. And then together, we're the universe. So I always like to ask, and it can be multiple if you want, no pressure. Some people are like, oh God. Who was a star in your life when you realized like, oh, maybe I could pursue D&D as a career? Like when you were starting 10 years ago? Yeah. Versus like now with all the things you're proud of and all your accomplishments, who's someone recently, currently, right now that's a star? So from the beginning of your journey to your current place in your journey.
Oh man. Okay. I think this will be a nice one. 10 years ago, I think I didn't understand the kind of stories we could tell inside of this if it weren't for the cast of Critical Role and the cast of The Adventure Zone, especially the Dungeon Masters, Griffin McElroy and Matt Mercer. They were the ones that I remember. There was just that little turning point where it went from like, here's like a fun little thing that like is what we're doing to fill our time and enjoy ourselves, and you get to just sort of listen to it, to no, this is art. And if you really lean in and if you're passionate about the story that you're telling, it's the Briarwood arc and the first season of Critical Role, first campaign in Critical Role, and midway through the Balance arc over on the Adventure Zone, where Griffin was then beginning to produce all of the music for it too. And everything went from like silly little like MacGuffin retrieval stories to like, here's how it all ties together. And now we're telling a story about people that are displaced from time. Like the moment things got real and I felt a connection, I was like, oh, I feel emotions. Like I feel worried for this group, or like sobbing at like the interpersonal drama of it all. Like they were the ones that made me think I could do this and it would mean something more than my own enjoyment. So thanks. And I've told them all that to their faces. So fuck you guys. You know I love you. And I think now, now sort of like being here and looking out and around, I want to get, this is going to be a little weirder. I want to say, this is crazy to be like, who's a star in my sky? Someone significantly more famous than me. Ryan Coogler.
Yes,
yeah.
I love Ryan Coogler.
He makes me feel crazy. Like, he tells all the kinds of stories I want to tell. Like, Black Panther made me feel insane. And before that, like, Creed reached to something inside of, like, the heart of, like, it's not just athletes. Anyone who pursues anything with like everything in them and is willing to put their like body and their life on the line to be the version of themselves that they're training to be. Like, he's always told stories that have felt so like locked in with me personally. And then Sinners came out and I was like, this is every like, it's everything that I think people talk about, like storytelling kindly, where they're like, it's character drama. I'm like, yeah, this was a family. This is a story about family and about the blues and about Black people in the Jim Crow South that gets interrupted by vampires and becomes this whole other thing that ties in narratively. Like, this is a person doing the thing I hope to do someday at the level I can only dream of doing it. So I feel like every time he makes a move, I'm just the first one going, yes, some more. Also, can we be friends? Do you want to play D&D?
Get Ryan Coogler.
Get Ryan Coogler at the table.
No, I love him too. That's so funny.
So good.
Oh, we're on the same page.
Oh, so
my
cool.
gosh. I feel like people already know you, but where can they find you online?
You can find me on social media. My name is usually @Quiddy. Don't worry about why. I joined the internet a long time ago when not using your normal name was a thing. But you can find me on Worlds Beyond Number, my podcast, The Wizard, the Witch, and the Wild One. We'll soon be starting a space campaign that I'm going to be running. I'm so excited about it. And you can catch me on Critical Role. You can catch me on Dimension 20. You can catch me on like the Wizards of the Coast channel. I do Private Nightmares is a vampire game. I occasionally go guest over with my friends at bars in New York. 20-Sided Tavern's doing a tour, and I'll jump in on a couple of those days too. Basically, like in the Bible, where they have that verse that's like, wherever two gather in my name, there I am. Wherever a dice is rolled, the chances are low, but never zero, that my ass will show up. So good luck with that. Sorry.
You'll find her. Well, thank you so much for your